Now that we have discussed the basics about how FanDuel, DraftKings, and daily fantasy baseball works, we can start talking about the strategies we will want to use to build lineups. A quick Google search for MLB DFS Strategy yields tons of common strategies used by players across the interwebs. Let's start with a general overview of some of the most common strategies in this video. Stacking. This is possibly the most common DFS strategy in baseball contests. Stacking just means that you select multiple players from the same team, usually 3 or 4. There are a few reasons why this strategy makes sense. I'll summarize the main takeaways, but since others have already done the math to prove it, I won't bother with that here. I just want to talk about general strategy for now. If you choose several players from the same team, it allows you to have several players going against a specific bad pitcher. Bad pitchers give up more fantasy points to batters, so we can capitalize on this more by picking 4 players against that one bad pitcher instead of just one. There's a correlation between fantasy performances of players on the same team. Usually, players on the same team will do better than average together or worse than average together. So stacking allows you to choose multiple players in other advantageous positions. This can allow you to capitalize more on things like hitters' parks or good weather. Batting order. A good general rule of thumb, pick players closer to the top of the batting order. You can read more about the math behind this, but the logic is simple. Players batting at the top of the order get more at-bats. Extra at-bats equals extra opportunities to score fantasy points, which may lead to actually scoring more fantasy points. Weather. Most importantly, it's probably a good idea to avoid players in games with a chance of rain. If you have a player in a game that gets postponed due to rain, that player gets 0 points. On top of that, players playing in warm or hot games are more likely to score more points than players in cold games. The ball flies a little bit further in higher temperatures, meaning home runs and extra base hits are going to be a little bit more likely. This translates to more runs scored in MLB games, and more fantasy points for players in that game. In the next several videos, we'll start talking about these strategies in a bit more detail. More importantly, we'll start talking about how we can set up experiments to test which variations of these strategies produce better results and win more DFS contests. If you want to play along and enter some FanDuel lineups of your own as we conduct this investigation, you can use my FanDuel referral link down in the description below to get a free deposit bonus. And be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon while you're down there too, so you can follow along with me as we build this DFS optimizer. See you next time.